You are in the Warriors Huddle with me, Brad. With me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxine.
How's it going?
And my boy and producer, MT.
What's up, Dub Nation?
Gentlemen, excited to announce a rejoining us after way too long. The prior senior staff writer for the Daily Californian and author for Cal Rivals, who covered all things Cal sports, including women's lacrosse, men's water polo, Cal football, and women's basketball. A Bay Area native who grew up passionately rooting for the local teams, the current ClutchPoints Golden State Valkyries and Golden State Warriors beat writer who covers every single press conference, shoot, around a game for both franchises, and the co-host of a brand new Warriors video podcast with Joseph Dykes, who has not invited me on their show for shit yet. I mean, it's only one episode in, but I don't know. I haven't been there yet. Mr. Kenzo Fukuda. What's going on, Kenzo?
What up, guys? I'll make sure you get an invite on that show very, very soon. I know Joseph he's listened to Warriors Huddle, so he definitely wants to hop on one of these days. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got some good news on the horizon. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Shit. Tell us about the good news immediately. Phenomenal tease. What outside of me being obviously invited on the pod, which I mean is good news. What good news were you reflecting?
Well, we do got Shams is kind of throwing out some hints in the last hour, but they're saying that Steph Curry is expected to return this Sunday versus the Houston Rockets after missing 27 consecutive games with nagging knee issues. And yeah, if you just have not been excited by Warriors basketball over the last couple of months, you're gonna get Steph Curry back, and I think that's some pretty good news for entertainment value.
I don't know about you guys. I much prefer watching LJ Cryer. I find him way more entertaining. So, jokes aside, MC Maxime, you hear that? You know, all positive because we've talked about tanking. What's the first feel when you hear that news?
No. I'm happy he's back. I understand they want to get him a few games with Porzingis to feel that out and have some more data to go into the offseason with for his new contract, but I don't even want to risk it with Luka pulling his hamstring in a game that he shouldn't have stayed in. I just don't think it's worth it. I think we just cut bait on this season and load up and hope for a better health next year.
You the same?
Yeah. Everybody says, don't count out a team with Steph Curry on it, and that's exactly what I'm worried about, is that somehow we sneak through from the 10 seed all the way to the first round of the playoffs, get donkey smashed by OKC, and in general then lose out on that lottery pick. Honestly, a somewhat of a nightmare scenario for me. Don't we have practice courts? Can't Steve Kerr see how Steph Curry plays with Porzingis there? Why do we have to do this in a real-time NBA game? I don't know, man. Not for me.
We're about to do glass half full, so perfect transition. Things I like about it. I have said a million times, heading into seasons, enjoy Steph Curry while you can. Because very soon he'll be out of our life and we can't. So what do I like about shit? An opportunity to watch Steph Curry play. He's a magician, so getting to watch him pry his magic sounds amazing. And I even saw a quote from Steph Curry where he was pseudo-joking, saying, well, one of the motivations to get him back is so we can finally be on the floor. And I hadn't even really thought that they, hadn't shared it. And so, that idea of, the Curry brothers getting to go out there, I like that. Things I don't. It doesn't require a basketball PhD to say that this team needs an infusion of youth and athleticism. I mean, we are good in a lot of fucking ways, but do we need that? Sure. This draft is chock full of youth and athleticism. And so it's put me in this weirdo position where I'm kind of rooting against the magic of Steph Curry. He's done way more amazing things than play himself through the fucking play-in. So, can he win 2 games against these shitburger opponents and get us into that first round? Yeah. Does that immediately destroy our chance at a top 4 pick? It does, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. So I guess we'll see how it plays out here, but let's use this. Glass half full. Kenzo, you remember, first segment, do it every time. Look back at recent Warriors basketball. Tell it far back as you like. Give us something you like or don't.
Yeah, glass half full, pretty easily. Got to go with G Santos. I feel like that's been the one bright spot from all these injuries. With Butler going down and Curry going down, he had so much opportunity and he took advantage of it. I think in the last 3 games, he's averaging something like 27 points per game, and that's on a contract of his size. He got the 3-year, $15 million extension. That is extremely valuable, especially since we're talking about what this team needs next season. You need cheap wings. You need guys that are not going to, take up the salary cap, especially if they are going to go big star hunting. So G Santos on that 3-year, $15 million contract, excellent. Honestly, he probably could have got more if he waited like an extra 2 weeks. He probably could have got a lot more. But it's good for the Warriors. He's happy. Everyone's happy. And yeah, that's been the one bright spot in an otherwise pretty dark season.
Do you think by the third time you put up above 25, or above 20, I guess I should say, and then obviously happy for Guy, incredible. I'm sure he's really happy for the success. But do you think at some point he went back home and was secretly super pissed off he signed that deal? That like in the darkest recesses of his mind, maybe called up as an agent, was like, you motherfucker. We couldn't have saw any of this coming because I could have made maybe double this easy.
Oh, maybe in the dark, deep. I think his agent's probably way more mad about it because Guy's a pretty happy guy and tries not to think about it. But yeah, like he easily could have gotten like 8, 9, maybe even 10 million after what he's done, because he's been like, if we want to, I don't want to throw shade, but like he's kind of what they wanted from Kuminga, this scorer, off ball defender, rebounder, hustle guy, and he's kind of done the stuff that a lot of Warrior fans wanted out of Kuminga. So. The fact that he's doing as well as he is right now is really encouraging for the Warriors.
I completely agree. Maxime, what you take us next, man? Something like or don't?
Well, I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, in terms of just on-court play, I've been a little bit sad to see Melton's regression a bit, and also, just also not having a bunch of playing time from him. It's not great for our good friend MT. We're gonna see what he's.
Shots fired.
It's all right. Everybody has ups and downs on the season. The thing that I really wanted to highlight was the recent Draymond ESPN article where he's talking about sort of a life after basketball. I hate that shit. I hate that. We've talked about it before in terms of watching people age out and feeling like, it just makes me feel old, but it's also a reminder that people are human, and it's complicated. I have complicated feelings about Draymond leaving the Warriors, either to another team or to retirement. I feel like he is the embodiment of the type of person that has lived long enough to see himself become the villain in this league overall, and I think that's a little bit sad because it taints what is a fantastic legacy, and in the long run, he will be remembered as an incredible part, a statue part of the dynasty. But I hate that conversation. It reminded me of the conversation where Steph started saying, like, joking around, like, sure, I could see myself ending in Charlotte, whatever it is. I just don't like dynasties ending, and it's taking for fucking ever to actually end.
I'll telegraph MT's dislike after that Melton take. He dislikes Maxime's face, so it is what it is. I'll take the bait on Draymond because it's actually a thing I liked. I like that we got a reminder of how valuable, in my mind, Draymond can be to the mentality of the team last night. So, rewind the clock about 7-8 hours, and Dennis Schroeder is fucking karate kicking LJ Cryer. Like some fucking Street Fighter 2 shit. It was a very dirty move in my mind. Ends up with a flagrant foul, and then immediately afterwards, Schroeder has this kind of combo move where he's standing over Cryer, and he's apologizing, but he's also kind of asserting dominance. It was a weird thing. And before he could complete it, who comes over and pushes him the fuck out of the way? Draymond Green. And it was a reminder of, we talk about Draymond's value on the defensive end, what he added to the dynasty. True, across the board. The thing that we forget is who the Warriors were before this turnaround, because we got pushed around by everybody. And not just defensively, we just got pushed around. We had nobody to be enforcer at any point. The principal person who changed that, the reason we had toughness, was Draymond Green, and we're not contending anymore. We don't get a chance really to see him exercise that in big moments. But at a time I felt vulnerable yesterday when I was kind of hating Schroeder. Was I happy to see Draymond come over? I was. It was a good reminder of how he has value in my mind. MT, what do you got?
Yeah. I was wondering if Jared Allen had his head on a swivel. He's like, I hope I don't get choked out like Rudy Gobert right now. Just innocent bystander choke out. Yeah, I'm going to go a little more lighthearted. I agree with both of those. I'm gonna go glass half full. I'd just love to see Nate Williams play 47 minutes
Crazy.
of an NBA game. I mean, it's hard to watch. You turn on the TV and you're like, all right, let's watch this game. And then you see Pat Spencer and LJ Cryer and Nate Williams. You're like, wait, who's what team is this? But he went out there against the Spurs, played 47 minutes, and then after it looked like he was still ready to play a game. Like it looked like it was warm-ups for him. And they're like, are you tired? He's like, no. And they're like, why not? He's like, because all these guys in the league are soft. And I was like, this dude does not care at all. So I just love that energy. I feel like that mentality and just his willingness just to do what needs to be done has earned him at minimum a staying spot on the C-Dubs, and hopefully, some back and forth between the real Warriors next season.
I liked his definition of the word toughness. Like you hear someone say they're tough, I assume like they sprained their ankle and come out. I forget I'm embarrassed by this. I forget the guy's name who hurt his right wrist and took a free throw left-handed.
Malachi Leon.
Yeah. Okay, that's toughness, right? That he's defining toughness as playing 47 out of 48 minutes. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, that's not, he said, like, people don't do this anymore. I don't think people ever did it. I don't think that was a thing that was happening. So I like that too. I'll cascade a couple other likes and then back to you, Kenzo. I didn't think I'd say this. You know what I like? The 65 game rule. Here's why. I went to that San Antonio game principally to see Wembanyama play. I haven't seen him play yet. Without the 65 game rule, I don't think he's in that game. They're going to beat our ass anyways. Right. They'd already kind of had it. And because I think he wants to make sure he hits that number, he was playing. And as a paying customer and a fan of the NBA, I was really happy to see him out there. As an aside, what a surreal experience. I know how tall he is. We've covered it a couple times. Watching it live, it's like watching an 18-year-old play against 7-year-olds on a dunk court. I mean, they just have to get it like remotely close to the rim, dude. And like, it's just all day. There's nothing. It's like the advantage I have on my daughter when we play on her Nerf hoop. I was glad to see him out there, but not super glad to see his dominance. I got one more but Kenzo, you got anything else burning through you?
Yeah, that Wembanyama game was pretty freaking crazy. Like I'd seen him earlier this year, but somehow he seemed like even better. Like he looked like a lot better, like just like 3 months ago. So I also saw him rookie year when he was a little skinnier, and like he was good then. I kind of could see it, but the things he's doing right now is incredible. Like Steve Kerr was saying, like it's kind of like a Nerf hoop. Like he was just tapping it in, and the Spurs' plan was just throw the ball as high as possible, tap it in, throw it as high as possible, tap it in. So I'm all my stocks are in Wembanyama right now. I've been a Wembanyama guy for a while.
Face of the league, I think very soon. It stays healthy. Face of the league. Things I don't like. Pranks. So we're on the other side of April 1st, and I can say just generally speaking, I am not a prank person. But the thing that's making the rounds right now is that from what I can tell, the Washington Wizards pranked their fans. So the first thing that came out, they had like a skit, but it wasn't presented as a skit. They brought a fan out, had him shoot a half-court shot blindfolded. He missed it spectacularly, but they pretended like he made it. They made this big giant deal. You made $10,000. And then they revealed that he didn't make it. And so at first it seemed like they were pranking somebody they brought out of the fan base. And then they got a bunch of shit talking and people didn't like it. And the Wizards revealed, no, that was just a skit. Even the guy who was out there taking the shot wasn't a part of it. But that just means they were pranking everybody else in the arena. Like, I don't know why they put that thing on, and I'm just not a fan of pranks at all. Have you guys ever been pranked? April 1st or like any other time? Has there been a moment in your life where you guys got pranked by someone?
A lot less major, like some dumb texts, like I can't even think. I got nothing crazy, but that prank in particular pissed me off because it's the Wizards. Like you haven't earned anything this year to be doing April Fool's pranks. Like I was in Washington a couple weeks ago, and that team was so pathetic. They were tanking like blatantly. They yanked all their starters out when the Warriors were trying to when it was close and the Warriors were going to try to win the game. And it's like if you're this pathetic and this embarrassing all season, there's no way you can trick the 50 fans that are in that arena. Like when they've just been a joke all season, and this didn't help them at all.
I like the idea there's only 50. They could have gone like an individual 1-by-1 reaction. Like, did we fool you? You know, they just see how they played on it. Freshman year, I'm in the dorms, and there's this ongoing prank. In the dorms, we had shared bathrooms, including shared showers. And there was this ongoing prank where if you took a shower in your dorm bathroom, people would come in and take your clothes. So you now had to go from the bathroom back to your room naked, or that was the idea. I don't like pranks, dude. Like and so on my way to the shower the first time, I very loudly announced to everybody, we're fighting. Like and I can't fight for shit. I'm like, I would have lost the fight, but I was very vocal of like, if anybody touches my clothes, we are absolutely like 100% fighting immediately. So that's the kind of levity and fun I bring to a prank scenario. Is great for the floor camaraderie.
Naked fighting too, which would make it even less desirable to get in a fight with you.
That's how serious I was. I didn't really think about the logistics. I don't mind telling you there. It was, you know, there are some things I hadn't thought out, but I did mean the threat.
Nice.
I've had itching powder poured down my back.
Oh,
that really pissed me up. Fuck you, Andrew. I'm just saying that right now. This is a long time ago, but I'm still not over it. That sucked. And then I remember now once when you were talking about just threatening to fight people, I got iced at my bachelor party, and like I just hate chugging alcohol so much.
I remember that thing. I remember when that was fucking happening, and I'm impressed that you went through with it.
Barely. I was staring daggers the whole time, and I took like 3 minutes to drink the bottle. I'm like, yeah, you're all gonna sit here and watch me drink this at a leisurely pace because fuck you.
Here, one more because we pulled the clip, so we might as well. I like this little segment of Bill Simmons' podcast.
Yeah. Hey, Conspiracy Bill. It's obvious the Warriors are winning the lottery. All the factors line up. Adam Silver wants to punish the tanking teams. Well, the Warriors aren't a tanking team. The league doesn't want to waste Steph's last few years. They want to keep the Warriors a marquee franchise. Gifting the Warriors the top pick lets the team either add Peterson or Debanza to juice the Warriors core, or they trade it like the Cavs did for Giannis, or LeBron signs there. I love this. Golden State, if they lose the first playing game, they would have a 2% chance for number one. They would have a 9.4% chance for top 4.
A top 4 pick for sure, because then it throws the scent off them.
You can cut it right there. I love this idea. I feel like they've been listening to our podcast. I might as well have written that letter. Do you, Kenzo, how much weight do you put in conspiracy theories? Not this one specific, you know, but like, do you think if there's in the back of your mind, do you think there's any reality of the NBA maybe putting their finger on the draft scales?
Well, they've kind of okay. It's all conspiracy, but we go back to the very first lottery, the frozen envelope that got the Knicks, the Knicks, their guy, like that's a big conspiracy. Last year, the Mavs somehow getting Cooper Flag after trading Luka to the Lakers, that was a pretty suspicious one. So I don't know. I feel like they've put their finger on the scale a couple of times, and maybe after all the tanking that's been going on this season, like you'd want to reward a team that wasn't tanking, because the Warriors, for the most part, were trying. They were trying really hard to win, and it just wasn't working. So I would call that ethical tanking. But I mean, the NBA has been real strange throughout its history. Like all the referee stuff, that this whole thing is like super strange. So I could kind of see them putting the finger on the scale a little bit at conspiracy.
We've talked about the NBA show at its core being a TV show. You know, I mean, this thing exists to sell, I mean, for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons it exists is to sell ad money. Does it shock me, the concept of them wanting to make sure a very large market gets a very large player, you know, with the kind of money that would ultimately dictate? No, you know, it does not at all. I don't want to jinx the possibility of conspiracy here, so we won't jump too far down this rabbit hole. Instead, we'll get to our big segment. All right, so it's a prediction show. Kenzo, I'm not sure we've done one of these with you yet. Our prediction shows come with some scorekeeping. There's a guy who's not on the show with us, but is listening, is certainly a part of our roster. Matty Stats takes down every single prediction we make and will let us know how we've done. I think I've come in last almost every year. I think. I'm not positive, which is a lot of pressure to keep that going. We'll see if I'm able to do it this year. But with Matty Stats lifting, we'll go through some predictions here. And the idea is we're going to bounce back and forth. So I got Warrior stuff, league stuff, Warrior stuff, league stuff. Here's the first Warriors one. Kristaps Porzingis, boys, is looking pretty healthy. Has been playing well, has been adding the kind of spacing and rim protection and all the things that we've said we wanted out of an NBA center. He also, even though does look healthy now, still comes with all of the health concerns that we've talked a whole bunch about. And he, gentlemen, is an unrestricted free agent, right? So this prediction is, how much money is he going to get during his next contract? What will the yearly figure be? For some context, this year he's getting $30 million. That's the second year of a 2-year, $60 million deal he signed with Boston. So that's kind of a backdrop. I'll put the number at $24 million a year, which is what JK got about. So over under yearly figure for Kristaps Porzingis on his next contract, $24 million. Gentlemen, what do you take?
I'm going under, I think. As healthy as he's been, and he's been really healthy thanks to Rick Celebrini and the medical staff, I think there's still a lot of risk involved with that. Just the illness thing is kind of, that's like random a little bit. And then the lower body injuries, he's only played I think 90 games over the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I think there's definitely mutual interest, and I think it's just going to happen. They're gonna get him back, and it's gonna be happy and fine. But I kind of think the number is closer to 13, 14 million kind of range, maybe a 1-year deal, kind of prove it type of deal. He plays really well next season, they extend him, or they do something to reward that effort. But I kind of think 24 is a little too high for my taste. And also I don't know if they have that much money to waste on Porzingis if they are going to go big fish hunting. So I think a lot smaller.
I like it. MC?
I agree. I think I take the under. I think it'll be a little higher than that. I think around 18 million, but I think they do a 2-year deal with a team option for the second, and then they keep flexibility in case they can add him to a trade package for a Giannis or somebody. But I think there's genuine interest in him staying, and there's genuine interest in him, in the Warriors wanting him to be a part of the picture. If you add him to the mix and his shot starts falling and he stays healthy, he's arguably the best center that the Steph Curry has ever played with. So and all respect to Bogut, but I think if they dangle Giannis or anybody else out there, that it's going to be too hard to not include him. You're not going to hold on to him and be we have to have Kristaps.
Yeah.
I think he's got one of two options next year. Either a prove it deal, like Kenzo said, go to a team where you're going to get a lot of exposure but not a lot of money, and show it to the world that you can do this, and then you'll get, after that, maybe you can have another deal. Or, hey, you know what, I don't care, I prefer the money, and he goes to Sacramento or something and cashes out. If I had to pick between the two, I think it's the first. And I like the idea of mutual interest here. And like you were saying, MC, this dude's skill set is exactly what they need, down to his shooting. He allows us to keep Draymond on the floor because he keeps defenses honest. So I like that too. I hope it is under 24, so I will guess under. We get him for 13, 14, I'll do a backflip. Beyond that, I'm a little nervous. Maxime.
Yeah, I feel like there's a magic number that we're all sort of dancing around, and that number is 30. And that is his age. And that is to say, right, you put Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, right, Kristaps as an example, but also Giannis. There's this 30-foot cliff that happens with big guys where they are suddenly almost overnight substantially more brittle. And I just don't think any team, even the Sacramento Kings, maybe with the exception of the Sacramento Kings, I don't think there's a team that's stupid enough to sign up that much of their cap sheet to somebody that's pretty brittle. So I'm hopeful that it's more in that 13 million range. And also, based on all the comments that I'm seeing from Porzingis, I mean, Kenzo, maybe you can confirm this. It looks like he's officially adopted Rick Celebrini as his father. Just loves the guy. And that's fantastic. And I think that bodes well for somebody that has been injury prone also in ways that are a little bit hard to quantify and treat, with this pot stuff. Having somebody on the medical staff that you care about means more than the average NBA player would care about. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a cut to stay with an organization that medically is treating him as well as the Golden State Warriors are.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that Rick Celebrini is I have a son Fuck you.
Yeah, and he's doing great. So
Yeah. He's also probably gonna get a raise like this offseason, just how well like he's had to deal with so many injuries this season, like he's done a good job. So I think Porzingis loves Celebrini. He kind of said like after the trade when they first examined him, he was like kind of saying like he was very impressed with like the whole process, like even more so than usual. And he loves the teammates. Him and Guy have a good chemistry. Him and Al and Guy, they all kind of their lockers are all next to each other. So yeah, I think he likes the team. He likes their medical staff. So I kind of think whatever happens, whatever that number is, they're gonna figure it out. So I don't think he's leaving is the thing.
Nice.
Quick wrap up. If Celebrini solves Porzingis' health problems, we need to give him an aspirations deal. Like, I don't care what he asks for, dude. Just all of it. And then yes, Maxime, you were right. Any big man after 30 is a health risk. This dude's been a health risk since he was like 22. So, I mean, it's been an ongoing thing. But to our next prediction, league-wide. So we are precipice, not at the playoffs, but you can see the picture, and we're right there. So my first playoff question for you gentlemen is, will there be a punch thrown during this year's NBA playoffs? And bonus points if you believe yes. By what team? Against what team? I didn't give you guys a whole lot of time to really contemplate this, so I'll go first. My answer is yes. Yes, I think there will be. And I'll go a step further. I believe it will be thrown by the Detroit Pistons in Game 6 against the Charlotte Hornets. And then they already have had They've already had a little dust up, resulted in some suspensions. I think that Detroit is like enjoying this fucking renaissance year, a year that like nobody thought they would have. They've been dominant. They've been great. Exactly what they don't need is a first round matchup against a Charlotte team that seemingly doesn't give a shit and is kind of dangerous. And if it goes to 6, like they've got real reason to like be kind of tense, I can see tensions boiling over and punches being thrown. So there's my guess.
That's good. That's a good one. I was gonna say the Pistons too. I'll change it up. I kind of think I feel like the Thunder, whoever plays the Thunder, is gonna get real mad at Lou Dort. Because that guy is like flying all over everyone's knees, and he's pretty dirty player. I don't think a lot of people in the league like him. And that Thunder team is very frustrating, just with all the fouls and like all the physical defense. So I feel like somewhere down the line in that playoffs in their playoff run, they're gonna get some sort of scuffle. Maybe the Spurs. I know the Spurs and them kind of have this like rivalry, some bad blood there. The Timberwolves have not liked the Thunder for a while now. So I feel like there's gonna be something thrown at Lou Dort coming down the line.
That would be incredible. I would pay for a pay-per-view Wembanyama versus Dort. That would be like that. I'm on board, dude. Yeah, that's exactly and it'd be Dort like swinging his arms, but he couldn't really get close enough to make any contact.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, and I think the same players, but I'm going to go a different team. So I think Portland Trailblazers versus OKC. I think Portland sneaks in over the Clippers, and they play the 1-8 matchup. And then I think Caleb Love gets frustrated in Game 5 when they're about to get the gentleman sweep, and he just goes at Lou Dort because Lou Dort is a dirty player.
Love this. Close this out, Maxime.
I love so much about what you just said, MT. Also because that means that we're not in the 8 seed matchup, which means we get to keep our lottery pick. Let's go. Speaking into existence. Yeah, I mean, the Pistons are sort of an obvious candidate, but so I think we all have forgotten that Joe Mazzulla is just training a bunch of fighters up there in Boston, So it could be any of those guys. I could see Peyton Pritchard feels like a dude that's just waiting to get into a fight. And with the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla leading them, it could just be at halftime. They could be like, hey, instead of this normal halftime show, we're just going to have members of the Boston Celtics punch each other at midcourt as part of just getting ready for the second half. So that's
how much would the fan base love that shit? Like talk about built for that city. And it might be Mazzulla. It wouldn't shock me if like he threw some punches as this thing went down back to Golden State. So more backdrop. We've talked about the team seems to be already circling next year. Big year, really kind of maybe the last chance to give Steph what he needs to get back there. We're already hearing names. We've thrown out Giannis. We've heard Kawhi. We've heard LeBron. There's names that are out there. But what that presupposes, without anybody saying, is they're going to have to give up salary Kawhi makes 50 million. Giannis makes 58 million. If you're going to trade, you got to match. And so that leads to this question. Do you guys believe that either Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler will be traded during this offseason?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one to figure out because there's reasons for both of them not to get traded. I do think if they are going to go for a star, they'd have to move one. With Draymond, they could just restructure his contract, tell him like, hey, we know you have the team option. We'll give you a couple more years. You're going to make more money total, but per year it's less. It's less of a hit on our salary cap. We can get a star if you do that. Just do the restructuring. Yep. And I think Draymond would be into that because you're making more money, still Warriors longer. You get a star in. That being said, like Jimmy Butler's 50 million, 55 million or whatever that is, that's a lot of salary, and you can get rid of that really quickly for a guy like Giannis or a guy like Kawhi. And if you want to get crazy and go with LeBron, you might not even have to do both of them. I think there's some ways you can manipulate the cap to just add LeBron to this team. So it's kind of hard for me to say. I kind of think like based on this season, the team has a lot more, even more respect for Draymond, especially with what Steve's been saying about how he's been kind of gutting through it as this like lone veteran while everyone else is hurt, still kind of, cowboying into the sunset. So I kind of, if I had to pick, I would say maybe Butler gets moved more, but I feel like it's less likely for both of them because I think there might be ways to keep both of them and add a star, but I don't know. It's a little tricky to tell.
MT, I'm going to change the question for you. If they could either restructure and add LeBron, because I think Kenzo's on the money, and we've already heard Draymond kind of talk about like, well, one of the options would be to opt out and then restructure and push out, so that we just add LeBron without giving up other stuff, or swing for the fences, give up one of our major pieces, give up Draymond, give up Jimmy, and now you're bringing in Kawhi or Giannis. Which one of those two doors would you prefer?
We can't restructure and bring in Kawhi. Is there a third option in that?
It's a little tricky with that. You might have to lose Porzingis if you get Kawhi is the thing. And then maybe move Moses Moody's salary, and he's hurt, which would be sad, but you probably have to do it because it's Kawhi. But it's the salary stuff is a little weird.
Well, and I've already used this joke, but it'd have to be an aspirations thing, right? Like they'd have to figure out a way, like Draymond's only making $2 million this year. It's weird. They're breaking the CBA, but he's also a very fucking successful investor suddenly. Weird that he got some advice.
I think what they would do, or what I would do, is both. I think you let Jimmy go, but you have the under the table agreement that as soon as you're back and healthy again, like you'll be back, similar to D'Anthony Melton, and then you restructure with Draymond and you go after two pieces. Just because Jimmy, if he's gone and he has that agreement, that unspoken agreement, then he takes his time to come back. Like if he wants to get back, he can rush it and be like, oh, we'll come back, right after the holidays. If he's not in a rush, then he can be like, no, I'm going to give the full year, like my age and his ACL. So I'll come back February, March, and then it's just a wash for the rest of the season. So let me just take it off. So I think you take the pressure off of Jimmy to feel like he has to come back and be Batman to a team like that. I don't think LeBron stays after next season, but it would be fun to have him play one more, his, farewell season with Steph Curry, and then hopefully bring a second piece and have that Steph, that second piece, Draymond, and then a Giannis or somebody else for the season after it once LeBron is gone.
And whoever we get at the number one pick after the Warriors
Mr.
win the lottery.
Come to the Bay.
We are speeding towards a hard stop, so I'm going to fast forward us a little bit. I'm going to keep us on the Warriors, though, and it's another under. Backdrop yet again. Pajemski is I think, valuable player, but also a hot button issue for Warrior fans everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
He is certainly valuable right now. He's getting $5 million a year and is contributing way more than a $5 million player. They have him locked in at another $5 million next year, but the year after that, we're going to be looking at restricted free agency. My guess is they'll let him go test the market and find out. But that's my question is, what do you guys think the market is? So it's 2 over-unders. Maxime, you take us first. My first number is 24. Over-under how much money will Podz demand? How much will he ask for annually when he is a restricted free agent?
I would say over. Not that much over, right? But I think Kuminga as a backdrop, he's saying, hey, I'm more productive. I'm more valuable for this franchise. I do more on both ends of the floor. And clearly you agree because you've kept me around. We're also talking 2 seasons from now. So it's very, all of the conversation that we just had about adding LeBron, Kawhi, whatever, is based on the sort of the Steph Curry timeline. Things could look very, very different a year from that point. So I think he might be looking at, hey, you guys need a really strong guard. You can lock me in at still below market rate relative to what my production is going to be over the next 4 years. So like, let's get it in $26 million a year over 3 with a player option or something like that.
Hard over. What does he ask for? Hard over. This is a gentleman who described himself as the white Shohei Ohtani. I'm not sure that like having a real understanding of exactly where he stands in the overall value of sports landscape is his strong point, and who get like, why not anchor your position? So I would say over. Kenzo, do you agree?
I think he's a little under. I think he's still asking for a lot more than I would pay him. I don't know if it's more than 24, just because I think the Warriors didn't love the contract they gave Kuminga. They kind of just gave it to him for the fact they could trade him for something good. So I still think he's going to ask for a good chunk of money, just so that when they negotiate down, it's still pretty sizable. I kind of think he'll probably ask for like 20, 21 maybe, which I don't think he's worth 21 million. But yeah, I think he'll definitely ask for a good chunk of money.
Keep the mic, because the other under. The second over under 13. What does he get?
I think 15 million. I kind of think whatever Porzingis gets, that's kind of where what he's also gonna get. Kind of like the same. They're kind of to me like the same value. If you're paying him 20 million, I don't love that. Just you love that because you could trade it for a good player, but I don't love it for just kind of a guy who needs to rely on other players. He kind of he's proved a lot the last couple of months, and I've been really impressed. But he is at his best when you have a guy like Jimmy or Steph or a ball creator that he can play off of, and he doesn't have to do as much. Because when he's doing too much, it gets pretty precarious pretty quickly. Like he throwing up some pretty bad shots, some air balls here and there. So I think like you'd want him to be in that $15 to $17 million range, where it's that role player money. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of years. But you're not killing your cap to get this role player.
MC, how much would you pay him? If he 15, would you give up that? Like what how do you view his value right now? And it's 2 years, so maybe we're before some incredible playoff run or something else that happens that he gets to show us that he's worth all that money.
Yeah, barring him taking the keys to the franchise like he said he was going to do. I hard cap it at 17, 18, like Kenzo was saying. I think you just need to preserve flexibility to build out the roster. Like he knows that if you return the same roster, but you're just healthy, you're still not going to beat the OKCs and the Denvers and the San Antonios and come out of the West unless you add some significant pieces. And if Draymond's willing to restructure his contract, then you shut up and take 17 instead of 22.
I'm not giving him $20 million. 100%. I'm not giving him $20 million. 17 would be one of those sleepless nights for me. I don't want to pay him that, but it's right there. And if it's in 2 years and like, okay, now we're like restructuring, we're no longer really building a championship roster. And so every dollar doesn't quite mean as much. It would be hard to say no as well. That is my non-answer that I will roll into the sunset with. We'll wait till we get a little bit closer. Back to the league, okay? There's 2 portions of this one. The first part's easy. Guess a winner, gentlemen. Who is the NBA champion following this playoff stretch? Kenzo, take us first.
This is a little recency bias because I just saw them play, but I'm very high on the San Antonio Spurs. I love that team. I think they're deep, they're young, they're hungry. I think Wemby, like everyone says, the playoff experience isn't there, but that dude's been pretty clutch in all these these Olympic games and like in Eurobasket and stuff. So I like this Spurs team. I don't want to see OKC win. They won. It was cool last year, but all the foul stuff is annoying. And I like that San Antonio team seems like the one team that does not fear them. So I'm all in on San Antonio. I think I'm shifting my attention to San Antonio once the Warriors season goes out. And yeah, I really like all their pieces. I think they fit really well.
Whoever wants to take a second, go for it.
I'm directly on board. I'm hopping on the San Antonio Spurs bandwagon dramatically. Did you guys read the article that Wemby's like monk master from the Shaolin Temple wrote about training him? This shit is crazy. He was like, like he learned how to count backwards from 50 in Chinese, while like the guy that was training alongside of him couldn't get to 10 in English in the same amount of time. Like his ability to process information and digest it is elite. And so when that is the type of stuff that matters, I think, in the playoffs, right? Where the thing that, from my limited understanding, people have to deal with that you don't see in the regular season is teams gaming for you over a 5 to 7 game series, right? And having to adapt to, the tit for tat kind of thing. And if Wemby can process information on that speed, he might not need those playoff reps because he already got them at the Shaolin Temple. Like, I'm all in on Kung Fu Wemby. I think Steph Castle is incredible and is like on track to have multiple All-Stars over the course of his career. I mean, this is like an incredibly well-assembled team, and they have a feeling of momentum. And I also really just don't want to see Oklahoma City win. That team really annoys me.
Yeah.
If I had some device that allowed me to pause time and then make a call before I started time up again, I'm going to wait till whatever giant shot that's going to happen, San Antonio, is going to have to go down, and it's going to be Harrison Barnes taking it. And I'd like to pause time and then call you guys. It's like, how you feel? Is this for sure? You feel pretty good? Because they left this motherfucker wide open yet again. I'm not giving my prediction yet, but I will back what you guys are saying. They say all the time that you need to get there before you win there in the NBA. If you're going to take a shot at San Antonio, they don't have the battle scars yet. But Wemby was just in his home country gold medal game, with a lot of expectations, which is, I understand that's not NBA Finals, but that's delivering, like he's kind of felt this shit before. And then another observation from watching him live, I think he ended up with 41 and 19, and it was casual.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you didn't realize that that's what he had until the end of the game. And you look up at the stats. It wasn't one of those where like he was pressing for it. They just kind of easily came. And that's some elite shit. That's some like, okay, this guy is ready to take it all. I'll go last. MT, who's your guess?
Well, first, I just hope Maddie Stats is listening, and you get negative points because you've not given any predictions for 2 in a row now. So
it's not negative. I just don't get the win there. Don't you worry about that.
Take it away, Maddie Stats. Take points away. I'm gonna go. I don't want them to win, but if Maddie Stats is listening, then it's OKC. I understand the desire, and I'm on board for them not winning it ever again. With that magic question, if you could pick one team to not win or by whatever, like I pick OKC 5 times out of 4, but I think they're on a collision course to repeat. I don't see anybody stopping them. I think the playoff experience will come to bite the Spurs, and I think they're close. They're really close, but what pushes them over the top are players like Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle, and just they're still too young. Mitch Johnson, he hasn't been there before as a head coach. Like Dylan Harper, like those role players are the ones that you need to have experience. The reason why we won in 2022 is because we had players like Otto Porter and Nemanja Bjelica, coming in off the bench, and those guys were just vets to the point that after they left, they retired, right? So I think it's OKC. I don't want it to be. I hope Boston or the Spurs upset them, but I think it's OKC. Maddie Stats.
I'll give you two predictions just to address what you were saying. Maddie Stats, write them both down because they're accurate. One, OKC wins it, which I won't belabor. I think that's a very deep team. I think that's a very good team, and I think that's a very experienced team. Now, here's my second one. I'm going to call it the Timothy Chalamet rule. I think at the end of this, we're all going to hate SGA. I think that you can have a certain amount of success, and then you kind of tip over, and we've seen your face a little bit too much, and now more resentment starts coming out, and some nasty backlash. I think we see, last year, for example, Chamelet was like the go-to fan. We were all shocked at how much we loved him on the sidelines, and he's a real Nick guy, and like blah blah blah. This year, I think there's going to be a different reaction. I don't think they're going to like seeing his face as much. I think we've been oversaturated, and so in fact, there's 2 extra predictions. OKC wins. We hate SGA and we hate Timothy Chamelet. Write them all down. No more negative for me. But it does lead to how I'll end this podcast, and it's a judgment theater. And Marcus mentioned the magic question. Kenzo, this is it. So I don't want you to answer it yet. We're going to guess what your answer is. Okay. But I can hand you a magic button, my friend. And that magic button can give you one of 2 powers. Up to you how you want to use it. One, you can use it to pick next year's champion. Now, you can't pick your favorite team. That's the only caveat. You can pick the Warriors to ultimately win it, but you can pick anybody else. Of all the other NBA franchises, you press a button, they've got a parade. Or you could use that special power and make sure that a franchise doesn't win anything for the next 5 years. You just take those 5 years away from them. All right. You can use it either way. I want to hear your answer. But first, gentlemen, guess. Which way does Kenzo go? You know, we've done this. You know that I'm a hater. 100%. I would take away the 5 years. I mean, without thinking at all. The only thing that would be hard is who do I take it away from? There's so many people I'd like to be a hater against. But like, absolutely, it's a hater button for me. I'm not sure on Kenzo. Competitive dude, but he doesn't seem to have the same like negativity base that I have. You know, so I guess we'll kind of figure out here. But what's your guys' guess? Which way does Kenzo go with this magic button?
I think he initially goes the hater button and pushes it against OKC. But he's sharp enough to think about it and say, okay, if I give it to the Spurs this year, next year, OKC's cap is already going to blow up their team a little bit. So I don't even need to do anything for them for 5 years. They might do it to themselves. So let me guarantee one for Wemby and the Spurs, and let OKC mess things up themselves, which is a roll of the dice because they have like 4,700 first round picks over the next 7 years. But I think that's the mental gymnastics that Kenzo does, and he ends up landing on giving one to Wemby and rolling the dice.
Does it feel like Marcus is trying to talk him into that fucking answer? This feels like for sure a finger on the scales. Yeah, this feels like definitely that. Pushing towards the prediction. Maxine, what's your guess?
With the hand gesture. Wow, hop up on. Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, Marcus kind of convinced me. That was a crazy Shaolin mind trick. I was gonna say like the only sneak attack could be, and then I realized that we don't have the expansion until 2 years from now, right? Because maybe it'd be like, oh, like let's give the Supersonics one in their first year back and help out the expansion team. But I think ultimately, after seeing the vibes and the shared experience of distaste for OKC, I think he might sort of win out on like, no, screw that franchise.
Okay.
I want you guys to know that I spent the last 45 seconds counting backwards from 50 in Chinese. I did pretty successfully. It's pretty good. No mental gymnastics for me. Kenzo picks hater button. He's knocking somebody out, too, for sure. Too competitive. I like the mental gymnastics that MT went through, and by like, I mean it took too long, and I think he was trying to talk him out of it. But I still pick hater, and for purposes of brevity, because we've got this hard stop coming, we'll go to Kenzo. You've got a chance right now. We're all going to get a point, one way or the other, on Matty Stats. What's the answer here?
I liked MT's argument. I was almost convinced. I'm going to go hater button, though. And I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Lakers. I do not want to see the Lakers win in the next 5 years. As much as I like Luka, that whole trade was was cheating for all I can tell. Rob Pelinka tricked Nico into the stupidest trade in NBA history. I've never liked the Lakers. Big Bay Area guy. So like watching the Dodgers win the last couple of years has been horrible. Don't like that. They're already going to win the next 10 World Series because of Shohei's crazy contract. So I'm going full hater. I'm not letting the Lakers win. I don't like the Lakers. They had that whole Kobe era. They're just kicking the Warriors' ass the whole time. So I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them win at all. All their fans are super annoying. They're the most annoying fans in the league. So if I get 5 years of misery from them, I'm very happy. Don't like the Lakers.
And the award for my new favorite guest goes to Kenzo Fukuda for his work on the Judgment Theater question at the back end of this podcast. Kenzo, what I said, this is how much of a hater I am. Not only would I pick the hater button, I would go on a tour holding the button. And like I'd be like the Grim Reaper showing up in people's, like I'd spend the whole year. I'd be at Staples. They'd have to be hella worried about me being there. I'd go to OKC, like, oh, maybe. I'd like be caressing the button, but not necessarily touching it. It'd be incredible. I'd like to have the conversation with Luka. Like, I understand that you lost 38 pounds since last year. That's great. Bow, press the button before he can even answer. It's like, good luck with that over the next 5 years, meaning absolutely nothing. So I love the response and loved having you back. I know that I'm not alone. If people need more Kenzo Fukuda in their life, where do they go?
You can find me on ClutchPoints, covering all the Warriors stuff. Definitely gonna do some draft stuff once that comes up. Doing Valkyrie's coverage. That's also coming up soon. And I'm also gonna be doing some baseball, a little bit of baseball for the Giants. Some AP, some freelance there. So catch me on that. I haven't covered baseball before, but it's gonna be a little adventure. You can also find me on Twitter, Kenzo Fuku. All my articles I post there, all news, breaking news, all that type of stuff. And yeah, this was super fun. I always have fun on this podcast, and yeah, thanks you guys for having me on.
Pleasure's ours. You know where to find us. I will be touring the NBA with a hater button. It's going to be great. Hope to be in some front rows. We'll see how that plays out. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can hit us on YouTube. And with all of that in mind, go Warriors. Hopefully, we'll see you real soon.